Hey, how you guys doing today? All right. So today, nothing terribly new. We're gonna watch a E6 V2. I think you guys have seen me build one before on stream. The other one I think was green. This one I'm pretty sure is black. Well, it's black. Anyway, I think there's only a couple people filtered in. It's kind of a, hey, how's it going, Teal Tracks? I kind of threw this build in randomly. I was thinking about rebuilding my Salamander with the new Heine H8078 Alps board today, but instead I'm gonna do that on Wednesday where I would normally do customer builds. So today I'm gonna build this, and I think it's gonna be awesome. Hey, what's up, Mr. Keebs? How you doing? Hey, TSC, how you doing? Cool. All right, yeah, so I don't want to bore you guys with, hopefully you guys have some awesome Memorial Day plans, but in the morning when most people don't have barbecues and stuff yet, I figured I'd do this, offer some morning entertainment and get this E6 done. Anyway, so I think some of you guys know that I have maybe you can see that on the camera, maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, cool camping desk mat thing, got that recently. Finally threw camping on an actual keyboard. Thought I could type on it for a little while. I don't know, I think it looks good on the white. I think it looks good on the white keyboard. One of your favorite desk mats? Yeah, so it ran not that long ago, actually. Like I remember ordering it and getting it within maybe like a month or so. I'm guessing that Mike will have more of them. I'm hoping. Because frankly, I like it a lot, but it's white, so it's gonna be super easy to stain. So I'm kind of thinking that I should get a second one to have for like display or whatever. Then again, I kind of feel that way about some key sets, and that's just cost prohibitive, right? Where are you at, Mr. Keebs? You're in, I know you're in Europe, right? But where? Yeah, I understand though. You're in Brazil. Oh, how did I get that wrong? I feel like I knew where you were from before. You bought Space Cadet desk pad without owning Space Cadet. Yeah, so I actually ordered this desk mat right after I ordered this key set. Like somebody had the key set, it popped up on Mech Market. Hey, thanks for following. I appreciate that. Anyway, yeah, so I jumped on the key set and then the desk mat went up for sale right after I jumped on it. Figured it's a match made in heaven, right? Anyway, I'm surprised at how good it looks, in my opinion, on this white TX84. Mr. Keeps, thanks for subbing, man. I appreciate that so very much. So much. Yeah, it's a TX84. V1, right? So the sandwich kind. I have a red TX84 SE, and those are top mount. For anybody who doesn't know off the top of their head. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Anyway, without further ado, we're gonna jump over to the soldering station. I'm gonna pull out this E6 V2. I'm sure some people for their holiday weekend have some plans, so I'll get it moving along. I will get it moving along. You know, I should probably set up a second mic on this station over here and get it all set up for, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna do it. I think that's kind of a pain. Ugh. Here we go. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have been really helpful to me, like showing me kind of what's up, or I've learned stuff from their content. been a pretty cool community so far. I have no complaints. I mean, honestly, if I did, I wouldn't have started making content, right? If I didn't think the community was worthwhile. It's the first community I've ever really gotten involved in a creation kind of a way, so anybody who knows me knows that means that knows that it means I must really be into it and think that it's pretty cool, because content creation is not really a thing I ever was planning on doing in any kind of serious capacity, and I guess this isn't like serious capacity, but anyway. Look at this awesome board. So the funny thing is, if you guys know me, like, or if you've seen my content before, you know I'm not super into 60%. In fact, I recently sold the only 60% keyboard that I actually own. Man, yeah, I have a kitten, a baby kitten. Looking at it on camera looks way worse than in person, with all these tiny little kitten scratches. Yeah. So, wait. Huh? Hold on. It is seriously cool. You have a white/brass combo. Like white, like E-white or something like that with the brass accents, or I mean, didn't they make like an all brass version or something like that of this? Anyway, this board, it's freaking sweet looking. I actually like it in black. I think it looks good. And while I'm not into 60%, I really think that this just looks clean the way it is. And actually, the one that I did before that was green, like the way it was machined, this little accent piece was loose no matter what, so I like put a drop of Loctite in there. There's a way that you could tension it that wouldn't hold super well by itself. Like, it wasn't that it was loose, it was that the threads weren't pitched right, so I literally put some Loctite in there and it actually dampened the whole thing and made it stay. It's kind of interesting. Huey has the all brass, really. White housing and brass accents. Yeah, I mean, I think white would be a good color for this board. Actually, I think it would go well. But all brass, I mean, who's gonna say anything bad about that? Is the all brass one is like silver PVD coated, right? It's like super shiny, chromed looking, I think, right? I think I saw that board. Huey had it in a display box so that it didn't get fingerprints on it at the NorCal meetup. I think that's how that went. Anyway, so we will pull this out. It comes with some hex wrenches, but we have like a ton of different hexes. I don't know if this... I mean, I have more, like a lot more. Whatever. It comes with little Allen keys, so we'll just use them, I guess. I don't think I used them on the last one that I had. Hey, what's up, McMerlin? How's it going, man? It's great to see you. When you're actually going to be doing some QMK work on the R2 BMC version of that. What PCB does that have? Talking about this one? I don't know yet. I haven't had it apart. Okay, yeah, that's not what that's for. I don't know. But you can tell me when we get it apart. I really don't know. I do know that this is a functional board as of right now, which I guess I should test out before we even get started. Might as well, right? Trusty Leopold cable. It's funny, I'm trying to actually get rid of the keyboard that this came with, the SC980C. Just not a Topra guy, I guess. It turns out. I thought I would be. I remember at the NorCal meetup, really loving, I like his layout, actually. So that might not be caps lock. Okay, so that's Control Alt and Control Alt, but they're both bound to. That's weird. Anyway, so I don't know what this caps lock does. Okay, so it's a function layer. I'm guessing this is another function layer. Yeah, different function layer. Okay, who knew? Get rid of that. I don't remember if I programmed the last one or not. The last one I had. I wonder what these switches are. I don't really remember. There's something super light tactility. They're like heavier than. I know the customer told me they're heavier than maybe they're Zelio V1s. Maybe. I guess we'll see. We will look. Yeah, okay. Glad that I got that right. Yeah, so I remember this, the other one of these that I had, I liked the board. What I didn't love about it, the really like biggest gripe that I had, and apparently the customers too, was actually the non-fixed plate. There's enough universality to it, and its tolerances were loose enough that a lot of his alphas weren't aligned correctly. And so that's what we fixed on the other customer who had one of these. This board was misalignment. I like his choice of white on black also. One of my favorite GMK colorways. I know that it sounds really silly, but it's just so classic. It's a go-to, right? It looks good on just about every board, regardless of color. Yeah, this keycap puller is about done. It needs to be bent back into alignment. Losing caps. Yeah, man, it's probably the most underrated. I don't know if it's underrated. It is underrated to some extent, but I don't know if it's super underrated by me. It's just it goes with literally every keyboard. I own 0 keyboards I can think of where it'd be like, that would be a terrible set to put on it. I think I would always hold on. All right, we're gonna change the song. We're gonna go back to our other player that doesn't work as well, but has better music. We are doing it. You have 2. You know what? I actually went back on drop after the last round or whatever, like to go grab it because it had been there for so long, and I must have missed it by like one day getting a second set. But that's where I was with it too, because I was like, I kind of just want to roll one of these daily and on whatever keyboard, and then just it'll get shiny and that's okay, and still have another one for putting on something to show it off. But it wasn't available anymore, so now I don't show that one off. I don't know, I guess I own enough sets to not have to daily drive any specific key set. The only thing I daily drive really is Alps, the SGI Granite or the SGI Beige on the on that Salamander for now, and those are PBT, so they'll get some shine and they'll get some grime, but they're easier to clean and wear a little less quick anyway, I guess. Yeah, I agree. It's funny because granite is more desirable, I think, generally. And I had granite on there, and I took it off because, one, I don't want it to get all used up, kind of junky looking, but also because it's going to go on Kepler when I get it. And so yeah, I've I don't know, McMerlin, maybe you can tell me now. I don't know which PCB this is. This is you can tell from here already from the color. It has the elusive logo on it under this stabilizer. Yeah, those are some of my favorite key sets, personally. Ugh. They feel good. I like thick PBT under my fingers. Surprisingly more than ABS, more than GMK. But it's not the kind of PBT that you really, the thickness and the way that they feel is just not the same on most modern PBT sets. That being said, the newer ePBT stuff is pretty fantastic, and Slate might be one of my favorite sets so far this year. I don't know. I really like that set. Alright, so got that thing done. So really, I think these are just for this logo, for this accent logo, which means maybe we won't use them yet again. We'll find customer's original packaging for that. Put it up. We'll get going on this. So what size? This uses an incredibly small seeming hex, like maybe smaller than, not smaller than I've got, but way smaller than I would expect. Here's, I think 1 or 1.3. We'll try 1.3. Ooh, 1.5 maybe. Okay, 1.5 it is. 1.5 it is. This looks like 1.5 though. I'd way rather use the deep-seated one. It's... That's weird. Maybe the notch set doesn't have a 1.5. I don't know. It seems like it's bigger than 1.3. It's tighter in there, but I am in Southern California. I'm about 100, well, between Southern and Central. I'm about 100 miles north of LA, in the desert. In the California desert. Then again, pretty much all of California is a desert. Don't let anybody fool you. Sure, it's kind of foresty in some places, but it's pretty arid. Not like a lot of these other guys streaming or whatever. The people in Seattle and, well, Seattle definitely not a desert. Though I've gone to though I've driven through Washington, and I have to say that state is way more of a desert, or a lot of it is a desert, way more than I expected it to be. Used to visit a client in Glendale, spend time back and forth in California. Okay, yeah. Glendale's not too far. Not too far. I mean, I wouldn't want to like drive there every day or anything silly like that. Really? You drove the whole one a couple times? That's crazy, man. That's a lot. A lot. Did I miss one of these? No, I didn't. Why did that one come with it? Oh, that's right, because it's a recessed. I wonder how much money they must have saved a bunch doing this ring versus this. I mean, like manufacturing cost must have been so much lower because instead of having to use a, like, what is that, 1 inch thick or something silly piece of aluminum, they could have used just a much thinner piece, especially because there's like this curve on the bottom. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it does look good actually. Different colors, I'm sure. It looks like it would look fantastic with a bunch of different colors. Anyway, I'm gonna set this bottom off to the side because we don't need it for a little bit. Of course, our stupid player is stupid and stopped. After like 2 songs. What is wrong? Give me 1 second. Back. Yeah, you guys are gonna have to let me know if it's too loud or too quiet because I had to restart it. Sorry, beep, boopy bup, BBB. Sorry, buddy. Now this Wednesday we're actually gonna do we're gonna redo my salamander with the that H87A Alps that Heine was so awesome as to give me a. I mean, I joined the group buy, so it's not like it's free, right? Like, but I did join the group buy, but he was cool enough to give me a release early, and I want to use that board and show it off. It was super kind of him to do that. Huh, look at that. Use some kind of like some electrical tape or something to like try and damp the mounting, I'm guessing, to it a little bit. I don't know why you would. Oh, he's just using it as like a washer. That makes sense. That makes sense. That's okay. We'll put real washers on there for him. How about that? You know what? We're gonna need this, and this is all black, and we're gonna need to be desoldering really soon anyway. So I'm just gonna get the soldering mat out already. Yeah, it's obviously for preventing a short now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, he's that's okay, man. I mean, I applaud him for being clever and using what he had at his disposal. Obviously, you want to prevent those shorts. That's real important. Really, really important. I think a lot of people skip those, and I don't understand why. Washers are so cheap nowadays. Like, what does it cost for? I think like a little baggie of washers, like I bought, so like maybe mine didn't come from Novelties. I just am keeping them in there. Like, I don't know, $4, $5, something like that. So this customer also wants some Band-Aid mods, so we're gonna cut up some Band-Aids for him in a minute too. But so we're not gonna unscrew these yet, but that's correct enough. Okay, we'll get this good old desolder going. I was trying to inspect and see. So there's a little much solder on some of these, but it's not like atrocious. It's not terrible. I'm trying to find. I wonder if the customer did this himself. If he did, good job, man. It's not too bad. There's a little too much solder on some of them, but nothing crazy. Let that heat up. It's an Atmega 32U4. Merlin. Yep. In case you needed more details about it. That's everything. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good board, man. The actual board that you dealt with before had no problems. I don't remember what the one I used before, what it was, what its firmware was, if it was QMK or not. Just do not remember. I'm gonna unplug this keyboard for a second so we don't accidentally hit stuff. So this should actually be a pretty simple build as they go for us. No crazy soldering surface mount resistors on every location or anything like some of our recent builds. Though I do have a Phantom build coming up in the near future, although I don't have all the parts for it yet. And the customer's having the case custom anodes, so maybe a little bit. But we do have some complex ones coming up yet again. We're doing a plaid. That'll be fairly complex comparatively. You get everything on that one? Yeah, these mostly are coming up. Customer might have used some decent solder. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I still don't think I would ever own one of these personally, just because of my general aversion to 60%. Not aversion, but not. I'm just not into them, right? 60% is too small of a layout for me to use regularly. I can't get used to function layers on my regular. Kind of need the nav cluster personally. I mean, if I didn't have it, I'd figure out a way to use it, right? And I have used 60s, but I definitely don't prefer it. But if I were going to, it's one of the 60s I've liked dealing with thus far. What is that pad? This one pad is much smaller than all the rest. It's weird. Super weird. Like the actual pad itself is smaller. Oh, it's wired up the other way too. All these in this row, this right pin is connected to the diode, whereas on this one the left pin is. I love looking at people's PCB design, seeing how they lay out their matrix. This one's kind of weird. What is this? Seems to be going a little. Second solder up just a little bit slower than I would expect. Pitch. So with these Hacko FR301s, anybody who's got one already knows, but anybody else, the sound is a really big indicator. So this is actually fairly empty, but let me just empty it since it's giving us a pitch change. Oh, okay. And that's what the problem was. So there's actually a bunch of solder stuck in the hole. There, came out. But a plug was forming in there. So anybody who's trying to diagnose theirs, right? I mean, the air goes in this side and out the back. So if you clean all the places that gas can go, you will find the problem eventually. I'm sure some of you guys know. Some of you guys have FR301s or FR300s or something similar enough. And if you don't, I recommend them. They're great tools. Require some cleaning, but kind of a good indicator for me as to whether it's working well or not is hearing the sucking sound of the air going through the little PCB through-hole sections around the pin. If you're not hearing good suction through there, you'll hear like a little squeak of air making it by. And likely the suction power is decreased some. And you usually notice that before it stops actually removing solder. Hey Gio, what's up, man? Don't worry about it, dude. We're doing pretty well in here. I am anyway. How are you doing? Someone else who will be traveling to Seattle right there, huh? Right, Gio? Working from home today? Nice. It's a holiday for me, so I'm living it up. Enjoying an extra day off. Thanks to federal holiday. Ah, okay. Nice. Yeah, it's funny. So I've gone to Canada before. And I was there, I guess, like for your guys' Thanksgiving, which is on a different date, and I kind of didn't expect it. Although it totally makes sense, you know, knowing what Thanksgiving is about. So it's interesting when a bunch of our holidays don't line up, right? I don't think about it because I'm just used to my experience. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, it's a holiday there. Dang, that must be nice. It's like, oh, well, it's basically the same as here. It's nice when we have holidays. Victoria Day. So I don't know for sure what Victoria Day is about. I'm guessing it's named after Queen Victoria. Watch me be wrong, and then I'll get schooled. Yeah, that's kind of the part that surprises me, right? Your guys is in like October and ours is in November. It's like, ooh. Is it even October? It's like early October, right? I don't know. I was in Newfoundland like either the weekend before or after. Queen Victoria died in 1901. Canada's parliament officially named the date. Okay, that makes sense. It's good that this was a never before soldered board before this, or at least only these pads have been used. It's going to make it convenient to put this all back together. We might be about done there. Hopefully I didn't miss any. I'm sure I missed something, or something's still partially attached, but that's okay. Coffee time. Is it normally observed on the 24th, and just this year it was the 20th? A lot of our holidays are like the nth Monday or the second from last whatever day of a month, and you're like, okay, fine, whatever. I guess that's probably just to kind of line them up with weekends so that most people get most of the time off, which is good with me because that works for me. But for people who like have non-standard days off, they probably would have preferred it to be the other way around. Still shame since we call 24 packs of deer 2-4s. It's a 2-4 weekend. Nice. Okay. That's funny. Case of beer. We just call that a case of beer here. 24. At least where I'm from. Why doesn't this one want to come out? It's not fixed in. Yeah, the pins are loose. Oh, well, just wiggling it, I guess. I'll bring over a 2-4. Not a 24. I'll bring over a 2-4. Well, I'll tell you what, man. I'll bring over a 2-4 at when we're in when we're in Seattle, which I'm really hoping comes to fruition really well for me. I think it will. I think it'll be pretty good. All right. So actually, this customer was gonna order some Telios. We went to order them, they were sold out. So I'm giving him some of my Telios, which are already lubed. I missed like part of a row. No, I hope I don't have to reflow solder into this one. This one actually looks like it'll come up. This one looks like it might be. Yerp. Weird. Maybe it'll come up this time. Felt like it got loose. Must have just been a tiny little bit. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a different colloquialism to hear. Now, there is, for the 18 packs and stuff that they sell, there is the colloquialism 18 rack here. Like, I'll bring over an 18 rack, would I think be the way people would say that. As if I've never said something like that before. Don't know why some of these are so tight in there. Believe these come up now. Yeah, some of these. Oh, that one came up. Actually might have missed some of those. Some of these have some stubborn solder in them. Actually, I think the PCB mount pins are just really tight on those ones. Wasn't solder. Weird. Some of those were tighter than the others. Oh well. Such is life, man. So it looks like these were pretty lightly lubed and they were Band-Aid modded before. Ooh, and that stab wire was out, so that probably wasn't behaving too well. Mickeys and 40s. Alright, man. I see what kind of a drinker you are when you talk about Mickeys and 40s. I'm just giving you crap. Okay, whatever. These look like they were lubed with super lube. We're gonna undo that. We'll fix that up. And these look like they have pretty loose band-aids and the thicker cloth kind under them. I don't prefer the thicker cloth kind as much as the thinner cloth kind. I think the thinner cloth kind perform a little better from a sound perspective, which is really why you do this thing. Currently day drinking in solidarity for our soldiers. Thank you very much. I'm sure there are a number of them who appreciate that. Sure there are. Thanks, man. Or who would appreciate it. Yeah, the town I live in is not super huge, and they put flags all up and down the main drag. So as you drive in and out of my town, from the ways that you can drive in and out of my town, there's just flags the whole way for pretty much all the major national holidays. So Memorial Day, Veterans Day, I think Thanksgiving they do it too. Stuff like that. And that's cool. They do like little parades and stuff. So I'm sure there's a fair bit of drinking going on. Ah. Not good. Whoa, so there were little washers also? Oh no, it's just thick tape. Okay. I was like, wait, why would there be washers and these pieces of electrical tape? Again, I actually applaud the customer for doing the electrical tape thing. It may not be the most elegant looking way, but it definitely gets the job done. And a lot of people just skip it, and I really can't stand it. I don't want their stuff to short out. Literally putting metal directly down onto it. Against traces too, in a lot of cases. Yeah, there wasn't very much lube on these either. Like, they weren't thoroughly soaked correctly. So they were modded. They were clipped. And they were very lightly lubed, but with super lube, it looks like. Yeah, we're gonna wipe that all off. Relube these with some 205 grade 0. Get them done right. All right. So now we will get to cutting. 2, 4, 6. Oh, we only need 6? No, we need 8. Shift wasn't. Oh, yeah, that's right. He had. So no, 6. Because he had split backspace and split right shift. So we literally need like one of these. I don't think any of these guys actually have a sharp bleed in them anymore. Okay, there's that guy. New sharp blade. Get these all cut up. Okay. We really only need 2 more of these. Set this one up off to the side. All right. Get these other band-aids up. So if you guys watch, this is not maybe the best way. This will work, and I do it this way a lot with something sharp, but you guys don't want to scratch the PCB. So a really good way to do that job would be to use like a plastic spudger like this and use this flat scrapey end, or maybe this pointy end, but you want to be really delicately surgical with the pointy end. Just lift that edge up. The better would be the scrapey end. On this side there's no surface mount components, so we're just kind of trying to get under it and lift it up. And I'm going way easier than I need to on these ones because this would actually be fairly easy. But I'm trying to get all the residue. I'm going to put our band-aids down right after it so we don't lose track of which holes we're doing, even though on this one there's really only one. Spacebar is really the only place we got to watch out. So the customer altogether really didn't do a very bad job on this. I mean, I would never use super lube anymore, though I have used it. What's this? Tired of scratching your plates when pulling switches. What do you got going on here? Keycap pulley remover. Yeah, that's actually really cool. I don't really like the thumb ring kind of like keycap puller, but the switch puller part of that, pretty awesome. I understand where you're going with the plates though. It would be kind of nicer to see a plastic version of something like this. I would honestly, I'm tempted to buy that tool that you just showed me and only use this part of it, because the keycap puller part is kind of junky, and you got to be careful with this to not scratch the finish on this plate. There's a lot of crumbs and stuff on here, but if you look close, I'm not seeing anywhere where I actually scratched the plate surface. But you got to be careful not to. That's like a thing that you have to be concerned about. Yeah, you're right. At 850, you're not really in that much. I think that's kind of the right tool for the switch pulling. A plastic version of that would just be better. I have too many nice plates. Like, I don't want them scratched either, and I definitely don't want to scratch customer ones, so I'm probably going to invest in that thing pretty right away. In fact, I'll tell you what, I still have that link up, and I have no. Okay, so on this computer, my credentials are not saved. I was literally gonna buy it right now just to have it. Your Tokyo 60, because it's a tight plate. Yeah, so another tight, really tight plate. The Alice plates were really tight. Both of the ones that I dealt with. Now, granted, I put like Holy Jesus or Holy Ox or whatever in them. So those are kind of fit tight anyway, but they were super tight. Like I had to push down crazy hard. So rebuilding them would be a little bit concerning that you would potentially scratch those. At least I would be concerned. Especially because they're like PVD coated brass plates. Right? So if you scratch it, it may not even be super noticeable because it's clear PVD, but like one day it will just oxidize. You definitely don't want that. Okay, so there's some residue there and I want to get it off because I want the adhesive on this Band-Aid to stick really well to that location. We're actually going to use a little bit of alcohol to clean it up. And again, anytime you're working with really any chemicals, be sure that it's not going to damage whatever it is you're dealing with, including you, because this is really high concentration alcohol, so it will pretty immediately dry out everything, including the tips of your fingers like that. Just a little bit touch me. So just be careful with what you're putting on you and on the things that you care about. I mean, I'll be fine, don't worry. There'll be Crytox on there soon. I'm joking. There will be, but that's not a good moisturizer. Just a joke. Yeah, so did you just scratch the Tokyo 60 plate, or did you scratch the, like, PCB somehow? Hopefully not the PCB. Because what I was concerned with on this is definitely scratching the PCB. Like, I don't want to harm the PCB. I mean, we could do trace repair, but if we don't have to, why would we, right? That'd be the best. Would be not damaging anything. Because the plate is just going to be cosmetic. Yeah, there's not a bunch of adhesive on there still. I mean, even in the case of a PVD coated brass plate, then it'll tarnish. Not going to affect the function of the PCB or of the board, because that plate got scratched. See, there was a little bit right there. No, that all evaporated. Yeah, just the plate. Was it, so it was a Tokyo 60, so did you have a brass plate in it, or what kind of plate did you have in it? Out of curiosity, I ask because if it were brass or something and it was sealed somehow and you scratch the seal off, there are ways of resealing it. Integrated. Yeah, okay, yeah. Never mind. Integrated hot swap. Yeah, there's not a lot you can do about that. You might be able to take like a magic marker to it if it's similar color. Yeah, not a lot else. Get some water, and I need some coffee. Water. Coffee. Haven't been drinking enough of this today. Yeah, so the real risk with a board like this, like, while it's a customer's board and stuff, and it would suck. With most 60%, if I damage a customer's 60% PCB, actually I have a 60% PCB that I could replace it with, but not in this case, because it has this centered USB port. Like, this is a custom jobber, and apparently a single upward facing RGB LED. Not RGB, sorry, just LED. Anyway. Can't wait till daughter boards are more common. I kind of can't too. I think it would just be cool if people used a standard, but barring that, which I don't think they will, daughter boards would be the best with a standard connector interface, which luckily mostly does exist because everybody's talking USB. So at some point there's, you know, a 5-volt positive, a common, and 2 data lines. This is an okay song. I don't know what this one is, but okay, now we're done with band-aids. Trying to cut through the plastic. Shit like Kepler with integrated Lima, or you can do Avian or XLR or whatever. Yeah, no, I'm fully there with it. And that's what I want too, because I like these other connectors that are way more durable than in the long run. Does it seem like overkill? Yes. Is it probably actually just overkill? Yes. Don't care. Do I have an actual Q-tip type cotton swab in here? I think I do. Fairly certain I do somewhere. Well, I shall return. I will be right back. All right. This is what we need, because we are going to clean up. I don't want to soak my hands in crazy high proof alcohol. We're gonna clean the insides of these doodads before we lube them. Luckily for us, there aren't a ton of these. Today. And he didn't really overlube them. But I do want to get most of this super lube off because super lube dries out over time. Guys, I would avoid it. I mean, if it's the only option you have, it'll work, but its lifespan is pretty short. I would not want it on my board for more than like 6 or 7 months, probably. It starts drying out, and I know this just because I've seen it start drying out in a pretty short period of time, in short periods of time that I've been in the hobby. So that's pretty short. I would go with something like Krytox, which eventually will get dust in it or dry out in some other way. It's not that the grease will dry, but it'll get contaminants in it. It will make it bad, but that's probably years, not months, not a few months. You know, I haven't seen people using XLR connectors, but that's actually a great connector type. I've seen it in USB cables otherwise and other things, but it's actually a great connector type, I think, for what we're doing. It's not as premium feeling as like a Limo. Limo connectors are great, but they're incredibly pricey. Yeah, mini XLR would be pretty awesome, I think. I agree with you. And I think it's a somewhat more appropriate connector type than what we're using. Krytox, anybody? Oh no, don't get gross things on my station. I can't think of there are a bunch of other connectors. I just can't think of any off the top of my head where it's like, yeah, that would be the one. Limo is definitely like one of the most premium ones that I've ever really been aware of. And I use them at my work, so fairly aware of them. But I would actually say that they're way overkill for pretty much anything, frankly. I've yet to see an application, with the exception of their longevity, their number of rated insertions and stuff like that, where they succeed or where they don't fail, rather. That's high and that's good for some industries, even if you don't need their other technical advantages. But I think for where we're at, XLR would be pretty fantastic. I think it has a fairly high number of insertions, or rated insertions, and they're not crazy expensive. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to make a mini XLR connector on some cheaper case, like drill a hole in the case, have it refinished, or refinish it myself and do that. Install a connector like that. I think it could be cool. Okay. So all of his band-aids are lubed up. Let's do his stabilizers and install those bad boys. So this really high proof alcohol that we used, or high grade, high purity, high proof alcohol that we used is good for pulling water out and then it just drying up really quick, evaporating off fast, which is what happened in this case. We didn't need to let it wait nearly that long for it to be good to have new lube applied to it, but just note, if you use like some lower concentration alcohol, like you go to the grocery store and you get 70%, which is fairly easy to find, or if you're somewhat lucky at the drugstore and you find like a 90%, 91 or whatever they commonly sell it in, you're gonna have to wait a little while. I'll have to wait a little while for it too. You know, I didn't see Slim Thickens follow my channel a while back, and thank you very much, man. I probably was engrossed in something and didn't notice the notification. But if you're still watching, thank you very much for the follow. Okay. A little bit of cotton on some of these from the Q-tips that we use in there. So I wonder who else in here will be in Seattle. I know, you were talking about it. Merlin, I presume you'll be there, right? Because you live in Seattle. You're still in here. Though he said he was going to do some QMK work, right? So possible he's just gone. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping to see a bunch of people, a bunch of names and faces. That's way too much. I'm actually hoping to put a bunch of names to some kind of faces, because I'm bad about remembering who's who till I have some kind of image in my mind of that person. Like, I'll forget people, and people that I have good conversations with, even. Like, I'm just like, nah, forgot all about that guy. Sure, there's a lot of people like that, but I'm definitely like that. But once I've associated that face to you, you are forever solidified in my mind. So I think this community is cool, because it's not so big that people never meet each other, like internet only. People do meet up for some stuff at some points. And I am frankly looking very forward to, it'll only be my second meetup. The only other one I ever went to was NorCal in November. And the messed up thing is I live SoCal-ish, so I've missed SoCal ones, I think. At least mini meetups or something that people have thrown. Then again, I think just like in a lot of other instances, SoCal event planning in general for all the video games and hobbies and things that I've been a part of, people are just not as community oriented down here as they are some other places, which is really unfortunate. There's a lot of people and it's still easy to be far away socially. Don't know what that is. Don't know what drives that. Don't get me wrong, I like SoCal just fine. Okay. I don't know what our timer's at so far, but I think we're kind of cooking through this one pretty quick. Especially considering we're doing Band-Aid mod. For some reason that always seems to soak up a little bit of extra time. Because I don't have a bunch of pre-cut band-aids. The few times when I've had pre-cut band-aids, it's actually gone really fast. Just kind of incentive to do it, but clean up the wires themselves. We're at 3 hours and 18. No, we aren't. Oh, it's 3:18 where you're at? I was like, we're not at 3 hours and 18 minutes. It's not correct. 1 hour and 18 minutes. Yeah, that sounds right. I was like, whew, 3 hours and 18 minutes would be crazy. Crazy long. For where we're at so far, at least. Maybe for like done with this board. If we sit around and chat about a bunch of stuff afterward. That's all good, I understand. I think about that too. I see like 13 or something and I just think 1. Add 2 hours to things all the time. I was just hoping it was wrong. I was like, no way. I would expect that our build next week, or later this week, right? The Wednesday one, will actually be fairly quick for what it is for an Alps build. Because we're taking an already existing functional build and we're just putting a new, we're doing exactly the same thing with a new PCB. That might actually be not that bad, but it'll probably be around there, I would guess. 320, 330, something like that. Get us some washers. It's odd to only need so few this time. 6. Don't even stress. Hey, some of my like long-term followers in here, you guys are always here when I'm live, and I appreciate you guys. I mean, I appreciate all my followers, or all my viewers and followers, but a couple of your guys' names I see all the time, and man, do I appreciate it. Thank you guys for your awesome support. EVB, TSC, Geo, you've been in here a bunch lately too. Thank you, man. Thank all of you guys. This would not be nearly as fun without you guys. Did our music stop? Stop. Yeah, I hate this player. I have to say, I really do. The web one. But the music is good. Music on that other player is not as good. But it just works all the time. Odd how that happens. Lists. Well, we'll just go back. Aw. All right, so so BBB, what part of the country are you in, man? I know that I think you've said something about it before, but I can't remember. Geo, I know, is Canada. Mid Canada, right? No, you're West Coast Canada. And then TSC is okay, yeah. Left coast, best coast. That's right, you're not West Coast Canada. Man, that flight for you is gonna be rough if you go to Seattle. BBB is 1 hour ahead, so mountain time. And then TSC is Midwest, I think, right? Midwest. So yeah. Pilot XJ Wisconsin. Nice, man. Pilot XJ, I've seen your name in here a bunch lately too. Thank you. Thank you for your always being present, man. Wisconsin. How's it doing there now? Is it nice and warm already? Hopefully. Hopefully. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Half tacker, so calish. Yeah, that's how I describe myself. So calish. People all over the country. Oh yeah. I like straightforward builds like this one. Nothing crazy going on with this build. Knock on wood, right? Shouldn't be. It's good functionality before. Here we go. Although I have some upcoming stuff of my own that's kind of exciting too. Um, so I know most of the people in here probably aren't in love with the Punchy 1800, and there's plenty of things about the group buy, at least how they didn't keep anyone else informed, because it was run through KP Republic, so Chinese site, right? There was very little comms about when and where and what the progress was, which I'm kind of accustomed to getting now with private group buys and stuff, where it's like good GB runners just, send pictures or like, hey, there's no progress right now or whatever, we're waiting on whatever from wherever. Kind of makes you feel good about investing your money and feeling like you're not getting ripped off or feeling like you're kept in the loop, whatever. Well, that wasn't the case with Punchy 1800. But I am excited because I did get notification that it shipped. And I'm kind of excited to get that board, right? Because I like 1800 layout a lot. So, like, that should be coming hopefully sometime soon. I mean, I don't know. It's coming from China, right? So it could be a while or it could be quick. I think they ship DHL, so it should be fast. But if they did like e-packet or something, it'll be like, I don't know, who knows, like a month. I've actually got a customer's thing that's coming from China that like shipping was paid for, so I mean, probably not the cheapest option. And like, just waiting. We're going on like a few weeks now. We get to wait. But if everything goes right, that should be here sometime soon. And I'll do that build stream as well. Like I said, I have some customer stuff like the plaid coming up. There's a whale that'll be coming in at some point. Like I already bought some of the customer's parts for his build on his behalf, ordered to me. So presumably his board will show up sometime soon. Yeah, beautiful time of year. Mid to high 70s. All right, that's good. Mid to high 70s is fine. More on the mid side than the high, in my opinion, is good, but I like it cold, which is odd because I live in the desert where it's, though the part of desert that I live in, I guess, does get cold, which is good. Not like Wisconsin cold. Definitely not Wisconsin cold. But I mean, it gets into the teens at night sometimes in the winter. 20s is not uncommon at all at night in the winter. It's about as cold as it gets here. Not uncommon, but it's also not like every night, right? Might be every night during certain months or weeks. Like, there are years where I have to set a drip every year or every night to have a couple pipes in my house not freeze. But it's not for that long out of the year. And I have like PEX tubing in my house, so even if it did freeze, probably not going to be that big of a deal. Could be. Probably not. Not like Montreal, not like Wisconsin. You guys are talking about true cold. Well, we get the polar vortex, right? It comes through, but it just doesn't, there's rain and not that bad. Although I have had 6 inches of snow on the street in front of my house before. So it has happened. Has happened. It's just very uncommon because even though it does get cold enough to snow, very infrequently does it actually. Does any water fall out of the sky in any form? Snow, rain, whatever. It's just rare. annual rainfall here is sub 7 inches. That's very low for anyone who lives in Canada, anywhere, pretty much, and for anyone who lives in Wisconsin. For sure. Though, BBB, you said you're 1 hour ahead, so there are parts of 1 hour ahead of here that definitely get very little rain as well. So I don't know where you're at, but it's very possible that you get very slight amounts of rain like here. Dang it. There's a little bit of improvised washer material on this. Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. I went somewhere else a couple summers ago for my job, and not a couple, the one before last. So a couple summers ago for my work, and spent a week in Virginia. That was miserable. I was like, please take me back to the desert. Because it was hot and humid there, and the mosquitoes were unbearable. I've been to Alaska in the summer. Come on. Been to Alaska during the summer, and there were lots of mosquitoes, but I still didn't get bit up all that crazy like I did when I was in Virginia. That was crazy. Been to Texas in the summer. Or through Texas in the summer, at least. That was pretty miserable, mosquito-wise. Okay. Got those stabilizers all ready to roll. Very wet again this year too, so they'll be bad again. I was in Wisconsin last July, and it was definitely a little wet some of the days. Although oddly enough, like one of the days that I was there was like no humidity. It was beautiful. It was like almost as dry as here, like 40% humidity or 30% or something. We aren't building this with the same switches, so I don't know what I'm doing with those. We're using my lubed Telios. You know what? I need to pull something up real quick. Customer build sheet. Yep, Telios. Ooh, scorpions. Don't have any deadly insects or nope ropes. Snakes. That's a good name. So there are scorpions in the part of the country that I live in, but they're incredibly rare. I've seen 2 scorpions in a decade. And both of them, I was kind of out in the sticks. So they're pretty uncommon that they come around homes and stuff. At least here, I know in Texas, they're like crazy, just scorpions all over the place. Like when you get out of the shower, you need to like make sure that your towel on the rack, like knock it out to make sure that there's no scorpions hanging on it. Kind of bad. So I know that's a thing in certain parts of the country. We have them here. The ones that we have, not so bad. However, I mean, it's still a concern technically. And we do have snakes where I'm at. Rattlesnakes. In fact, fairly dangerous. types of rattlesnakes where I'm at as far as rattlesnakes go. But again, snakes mostly just don't want to be around you. Like, usually they just kind of try to make their way away from you. I mean, it's a thing to be concerned about if you're going into like a shed or something where they might be trying to hang out, especially during... So here's the thing. During certain parts of the year, when they're likely to be active, that's when you gotta watch out. Because if it's like the dead of winter, you're not worried about rattlesnakes. Because they're not moving. They're not out and about. Yeah, crap tons of black widows. That's probably the thing that's most likely to cause you problems here in the desert. Just lots of black widows, but that's a lot of the country, frankly. That's like all over. I think the black widows range pretty much all of, at least Conus. Gila monsters, oof, dude. Yeah, so there are no Gila monsters where I'm at. Those are kind of crazy though. That would not be a cool thing to run into. No brown recluses in this part of the country, although technically there have been sightings of them in most of the US. I mean, conventional wisdom is that they just aren't here. If that, I spend time in the woods hunting and hiking. Nothing really to worry about except ticks. Yeah, ticks suck. Actually, the worst, the very worst of all of the types of creatures that we're talking about, the ones that are actually, in my opinion, the ones that would be the most irritating to live with, chiggers. No deal. No deal, microscopic creatures that burrow under my skin, kind of bad. Texas, Oklahoma, areas like that, I think, right? Texas for sure. I'm aware of that, but I think they're in Oklahoma also. Occasional Bigfoot. It's not really the Bigfoot that I'm afraid of. It's the people who are seeing the Bigfoot. Those are the people that are scary. Yeah, chiggers are no fun, man. You don't want to get those. That'd be bad news bears for pretty much everybody. Oh, bears are bad. I guess if you lived in a place where there were tons of bears. I mean, California, it turns out there are bears here, but all the really scary bears, they hunted into extinction in the 30s. Not a good thing, but truth. Get some anchor switches in here. I think we're good for some anchor switches. It's fine, man. I didn't realize that the automod didn't like it, but I guess I can understand why it would not like that. Yeah, don't worry, I won't. Oh, I have a choice to allow that word. Allow. That word is not a bad word. I love that you like chose the proper proper name, scientific name for the thing though. Hey, how's it going, man? How you doing? Plus plume. How you doing today? We're doing a nice build today. A mellow, kind of relaxed build. Easy. Well, not easy, I mean, just simple though. Straightforward build. I Nothing crazy going on here. Nice E6 V2. I don't need that hooked on the end of that table though. I'm pretty good, man. I'm pretty good. In fact, no major complaints. This place makes me happy. I like my stream. I like the people that come, visit, make it fun. For me, I mean, they make it fun for me. Decent folks. All right, so we'll tack down our little anchor switches. And once we've got some anchor switches done, we'll move on to the main body, getting all the other switches installed and soldered in. Luckily, our previous customer was awesome, and our customer, who previously built this board, I presume, was awesome and used leaded solder, which is awesome. Makes this whole process much, much simpler. Rebuilds. Got the whips and chains kinds of bears. Yeah, we had the whips and chains kinds of bears. I think. I don't know how to respond to that well. We had crazy bears in California once upon a time. Grizzly bears, California grizzly bears, which were huge. And then those got hunted into extinction, and now there are only black bears here, which is much less scary. Oh, I see what you mean about the bears. Yeah, I got it. Took me a second. Only they were that. Yeah. Lead solder is the best solder. Best tasting by far. No, not doing that. Not ever. You know, it might be sweet. I don't know. I'm not gonna try it though. I'm not gonna find out. Lead is good for solder and bad for, well, putting in your body. Don't get it in your body. It's like when I do this, I always got to be careful not to like touch my face with the tips of my fingers that I've touched to lead. Always got to be a little careful afterward. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the solder properties, but I definitely don't want the death properties. Cancer, death, acute toxicity in one form or another. We'll try to avoid those to the maximum extent possible. And we already know we're using stepped caps, so hopefully I put that in place. Split right shift right here. Well, This is the function, the split part. This is the right shift. Here's our stepped caps. Okay. Alrighty then. So we got all of our anchor switches in. Let's get the rest of these in. What do I think about the Tokyo 60 coming out on drop? I mostly do not think about the things coming out on drop lately. I'm not a big fan of 60s in general, right? So I would never buy that board, but I think, you know what, throw the link up. I want to see the prices. I'll give you my most honest current estimation of it. I will look at it. But in general, I'm not a big fan of 60s, personally. That being said, some 60s, which are great in general, well constructed, like this E6V2, I'd recommend to people if they were going to buy another one, if they wanted to buy one. The Tokyo 60, which I believe has an integrated plate, as we were discussing earlier. Okay, so HHKB, $230 for the kit. Okay. Does this kit come with stabilizers and everything? Does it come with good stabs? It's USB-C, programmability, backlighting, QMK. Do they have pictures of the inside of the case? Trying to look. So I don't see pictures of the inside of the case, which is unfortunate. Hey, TSC, thank you so much for the 300 bits. And Young Houdini, I did not call out, but thank you so much for your follow earlier. I really appreciate that. Try and be better about watching the notes. Okay, so it looks like it has a switch top removable capable plate. I don't think that's good. I think fixed holes like these are better. I think all the universal parts right here are a pain. They lead to the ability for things to be misaligned. Frankly, this one is tight, but the plate that I dealt with before on an E6V2 was actually too loose, which leads to misaligned keycaps sometimes. Don't think that's going to be a problem here, but anytime you have switch top removal like that, the switches are going to fit in pretty loose, and I think that's a downside. So personally, for $230, this would not get my money. I would target one of the other plethora of 60% customs that are out there, spend a little bit more, and get a much higher quality board. Yep, that's my take on it. But I think if you're a beginner, $230 is where you're at. You can't really justify spending more. You're not into it enough to say, hey, I'm gonna just drop the cash. Then it'll be all right, and it'll treat you well enough. And if you really like the layout a lot, HHKB like this is, like that is, then it could work. This is a much more expensive board. Does it come with switches? So if I click pre-order, it's literally just the kit, right? So CNC anodized case, sure, whatever, pick one. Season 3 die sublimated keycaps. So $40 for keycaps, which probably aren't that good. We'll say no. Acrylic diffuser, sure, why not? Pack of 61 switches. You can get Gatoron blues, browns, clears, greens, reds. I would maybe be willing to do Gat greens. Otherwise, I would do the Halo Trues or those Zelio 65 grams. That'll cost you $18 more. Let's say we want Zeals. We want the diffuser. We don't want keycaps. We're going to buy our own. It's $235.95 shipped with tax. To me, is that right? Maybe. Click PayPal. Yeah. Okay. $235.95 shipped to me plus $130 for caps. Let's say. So $370. Not a terrible deal. Not a terrible deal. All in. Oh, take it easy, Aftacker. You have a good one. Yeah, I'll go along with that. Go for the Polaris. Go for well, you can't now, but Sirius, right, was a good, looked like it was going to be a great run if you're into 60. I honestly, I would wait for a good drop to come around. If there's nothing open that catches your eye right now and you want to wait for something else, I would wait for a good, because even then, right, if I go back on this, look at its delivery date, it says what does it say? Oh, that's the other thing about it. So it says delivery date's going to be November. So yeah, I would just find another drop, another group buy that's going to go on, not on drop, on Geekhack. Also, this is hot swap, so I'm not a fan of hot swap either. Those sockets are not that flawless, and the typing experience isn't as good as soldered in, fixed plate, the whole deal. So yeah, generally speaking, I would say no to that board. I do hope that, you know, if anybody really likes that board, that they get it though. My opinion is, well, exactly that. It's my opinion. Grid 600 in stock. Okay. Yeah. I think basically all the people in here are giving good options, good other options that I would go for over. I would go for those options instead of the Tokyo 60 personally. Man, I feel like I just smack talked the Tokyo 60 now. Guess I'm never gonna get anything free from drop. Wah, wah. See, verifiably not a shill, as someone had told me after I showed Heine's PCB on here with his sticker. Made the stream. How far along in the rebuild? So I've got anchor switches in. We just put in the rest of them. I'm going to solder the rest of it up. And then I'm going to slap it all back together, tighten it all up, take a look at it. Yeah, so we got your Band-Aids in. We got your stabilizers lubed, cleaned off all the previous lube, cleaned off the previous Band-Aids, put new ones on, made everything right. We checked the PCB out earlier. Yeah. So we are moving along, sir. We are. What is the Grid 600? Somebody else want to find Grid 600 and post it in here for him to take a look at it? Come on. We are fairly close to done with the build, actually. This was a pretty well treated PCB and board. Whoever soldered it together the first time did a good job. Treated it well. All the pads are in good shape. Like I said, there wasn't too much extra solder on all the pads. There was a little bit on the switches, but it wasn't outrageous at all. It wasn't too much for my comfort. Like, nothing looked like it was a cold joint. I don't know. It was well treated. I'm happy with the build. I am indeed. Happy with the way it was before, in terms of the way it was treated, and I think it's going to be a good build this time. Some lube Telios up in here. Band-Aid modded stabilizers. Okay. Somebody post that grid 600 in here. I want to look at it. Okay. Love the name. We'll take a look at that for a second. So I kind of like the forehead, the replaceable forehead thing on the grid 600. I like personally that it comes in Sangan bottom row, so the split like it comes in HHKB and it comes in Sangan and it comes in full bottom ANSI row. So I personally like the Win keyless look and not having a Windows key for gaming and stuff. So that's where I'd be with it. But similar with HHKB if you like that more. Like that top is removable or interchangeable. So yeah, man. Actually, I would say that this is just a better all-around option. Now the thing is it isn't hot swap. So if that's your thing and you gotta have it, it's not going to be that thing. But frankly, I think the typing experience is worse with that anyway. I can't remember what the Grid 600's plate design is like. I know I've looked at it, but it's been a long time. It's built into the top, right? No? Hold on, let me scroll up. So there's a picture of one stabilizers where it looks like it has no plate at all. Are they all plateless? Are they all completely plateless? Flip top, that's right, yeah. It's been a long time since I've looked at this. Like, and I didn't pay it enough attention when I did it the first time. I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. So if it is plateless, you go no plate at all. The thing you have to remember is that you're limited realistically, in my opinion, you should limit yourself to using switches that have PCB mount legs, because it's really the only way that you'll get everything completely aligned correctly. In fact, the E6 V2 that I built previous to this customer originally had vintage blacks on board, and he had alignment issues because of the fact that he was using those vintage blacks, so they didn't have PCB legs. So what it meant was, he had the brass plate and it was looser than this. What it meant was that all of his alphas would have had to have been aligned manually. So my recommendation to him, because I wasn't really willing to hand align all those switches without charging him literally an hourly rate to do it, because it just would have been an outrageous amount of time. My recommendation was, hey, why don't we just put in retooled blacks, which is what we did, I think. And they were fantastic. Everything lined up right, the way we would want it. And it was good. I think I did actually on that board have to align a couple of the mods, oddly enough. But again, that plate was much looser than this one. This one actually seems tight. Not too tight, but like, seems like the switches fit in snug. And I'll show you guys kind of what I mean in a second before I hit the next row of switches on this. So the bottom alphas row on this won't be installed. Yeah, so the bottom alphas aren't installed. So what I'm saying is right here, there's no play. Like, this is in pretty much. I mean, like, it doesn't move. And in the other plate, it was looser. Like, it could wiggle. When I had the vent blacks in. Now, when we put the ones with PCB mount legs in it, that all went away because now they're being held to the PCB itself also. I generally like tighter fixed plates. No universality is fine. Let me just order the plate that I want. And if you, the group buy runner, or whoever are doing the board, selling the board, whatever, if you offer the plate file up for future customers to make their own plate off of, and you're giving them the option to build whatever kind they want as long as your PCB supports whatever layouts they're interested in. That's the way I want to see group buys go. I am seeing more group buys go that way, and it makes me happy. Okay, that should actually be that. Plug it in real quick, throw up switch hitter, and we'll verify. So this had a kind of a couple hinky things to it when we tried it just a minute ago. Not hinky, but like, right? So we got, no, do not delete that. Yep, okay. So like the bottom row, so caps lock was a function layer. This is a function layer. Both this and this were bound to that one shift. And these are left buttons, and these are also those left buttons. So it looks like we missed you. We'll solder that back together. We did. We missed one of the pins on you. That's right. You had that weird thinner. There's a little bit extra solder on that. Not much, but it's such a small pad for whatever reason. Okay, and then to test the caps lock, I think we had some function layer stuff here, yes, and then we had some function layer stuff here. Okay, cool. So all those switches work, both function layer switches, everything. Sweet. We done. We'll get our stabilized caps on here first, just to verify that they are all functional. Get rid of that. Since everything's soldered together well, put that up out of the way for now. Get our stabilized caps on, just make sure, all of this sounds good. Sounds great there. Sounds good. And then where's our return? All right, guys. Oh, wow. The main audio has been off this whole time. The music has just been paused. You guys have been watching me with no music. I feel bad. So music can go back on now. Nobody said anything? When did I mute that? Must have been a while back. I'm actually kind of surprised you guys have been watching me. All of you guys have been watching me without the music on. I guess, you know what? We don't need to throw all these on right now. Let's put the case back together first. Oh. Rid of that. So many pieces to this case. Too lazy to move. That's okay. Mesmerized by cubes is a good enough excuse. Okay, so the correct way to do this board switch here out of the way. Get one of these. Okay. The same, I guess. Two. You're inclined to support UPAS, so I'm inclined to support UPAS too. I wish that I had been inclined to jump on that Satisfaction 75. In fact, I'll probably regret it, and I may buy one eventually one day. Because I will say, it was a pretty good looking 75%. I don't care about the rotary encoder so much, but I should probably have a decent 75. Right now, all I got is the back this all out and make sure that it's seated. All I've got is the KBD fans, KBD 75 V2. And I was actually looking to sell it somewhat recently. It didn't sell right away, so I just kept it. Okay. You got the S75 cent. Went for gray. Thought about E-white. That's too bright. Actually, my biggest problem with E-white is that it isn't as good of a finish as Anno or as what's it called? It isn't as good as Anno, and it isn't as good as Cerakote. IMO. Oh, it isn't as good as powder coat either. Like, it just is not as hardy of a finish in general. Oh. Don't love this song, but it's okay. It's here now. Okay, so we'll throw all customers' caps on here, and then we'll get it over to the main rig. Let's see how we do. Wasn't that? Love customer's choice again in keycaps. White on black is the best. I like your backspace and delete order, customer. Not that you need my approval, but I like it anyway. And this is, yeah, okay. One day I'll come across that key. Very Nine Inch Nails. Yeah, that last song, you're right, kind of very Nine Inch Nails inspired. Alrighty then. Are we off by one space on this? I think we might be. Literally off by half a space right there. Well, control is coming back out. We have lost control. It's okay. It's a quick fix. I'm pretty sure I soldered them right into the correct holes, the same ones as before. So that means that previously, was it installed in the wrong place? I didn't take a tight look at that. It's also all about rub out. You mean like the key, the rub out switch, or like on a bunch of old keycap sets? I presume that's what you mean. Maybe we just did it in the wrong one. No, it's definitely soldered in the same place it was previously. And it goes one over. Yeah, look. This is where control is. If you look, there's solder on that pad right there. So it must have actually been misaligned previously. I'm not convinced. Okay. Well, we'll figure that out, I guess. Helps if we desolder the right side. Derp. That's okay. So that one also soldered in the same position. as it was previously. Okay. So now, if I do this, it'll look super funky, but it's not gonna look funky as a final result. No, that's... Yeah, that's definitely not right. They're both 1.5s, right? Yep. Oh yeah, I can definitely solder in standard caps. That's easy. I'll desolder it right now since we've got it all undone anyway. Where'd my keycap puller go? That was like right here. Whatever, I have more. Oh, there's the one. Yeah, standard caps lock is easy enough. That's a super easy fix. Super easy. But yeah, if you look, I mean, I guess I didn't take too close of a look, but if you look right here, the pins now are going through the one next to it. The only one of those pads has been soldered onto where the control or alt or whatever it is. If I move it over one, which is where it is now, there isn't space for that. Okay, well, whatever. Fixed. Yeah, so it's not actually that. I don't know what it is. It's actually just that it like didn't clip in right to the... I don't know, that's funky. It's actually, I think that it's just spaced wrong. They do barely touch right now. Yeah, okay, so this is what it is. So within that hole, because there's no switch alignment pinholes right there, because if I push this over so that the pins are seated against that side, they interfere. Right? So now if I just squeeze them over, that's weird. That is bizarre. And then it doesn't interfere with this. Doesn't interfere with this. None of these interfere. These do barely touch though. That's okay because I can squeeze them over too. It's not the best bottom row. That's okay though. Looks like it's good now. But yeah, music has stopped. But that's okay. Get this fan going. I'm gonna resolder this thing real quick. Okay. And we will solder in regular caps. Solder in the second pin on these guys. I'll hit this one again real quick. Okay. Okay, so we will, now we're done. Almost. Clean up those things, clean up those things. Okay. Better. Put this back on. Here we go. Who knew? Okay, so your caps is now standard. So I'm not going to, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I have white on black. So I'll grab my standard caps. I'll throw it on there to take pictures with, type with. I don't know. I feel you, but I would hate to shave down my GMK sets. You know what I mean? Like that would not be optimal for me. I would not be happy with that. And white on black being one of my favorite sets. Pretty unhappy with that. Okay, we got it fixed. Again, universal plates. That universal bottom row doesn't have side-to-side support, so it doesn't lock it in, and then there's no PCB legs that hold it in place on there right there. So it's just unfortunately what it is. Okay, now we're gonna go over to the main station, and we are going to throw your regular caps back with your step caps rather with that. I'm gonna grab my regular caps, switch this over to this main rig. Boom. We'll get this party started. that way, we'll all right. Alrighty then. So I'll leave the music off because we're gonna move that out of the way. Put this right here. I'll leave my wrist rest there because even though it doesn't look good, what it does do. Good. Can I check the plastic bag in the box? Pretty sure you're included. Sure thing. I will check. I don't want to out you, address-wise. Hold that down. Ah, you did, sir. You included new stabilizers, though they're clip-in stabilizers, so I'm glad I used your screw-in stabs that were included. Caps lock. There we go. Good, I don't have to touch mine. That'll make it awkward. So, customer, you also included these. FYI, I'm gonna show everybody here in the future. Sorry, I'm not trying to call you out specifically, but everyone here, if you can, do me the favor and avoid ever using these for your own sake. See those two little pronged clips right there at the end? That, those clip into your PCB. And eventually, they're likely to come out. There'll be problems. So we did use your original stabilizers, but I cleaned up all the lubrication, re-lubricated them. They were already clipped, and we put new band-aids on. But otherwise, thanks for including that cap. So I'm going to throw your other one. Whoa. That cap's back in that bag. That'll go in your box. All right, so let's get a little typing on. All right, wonder what I'll be able to type today with this. All right, wait for the stupid ads to pop up that will invariably pop up. Close that nonsense. There will be one more. Close that nonsense. Okay, so here we're going to go for the typing test. Okay. Whoa. Redo. Whoa. That backspace being not where I expected, that is interesting. Oh. Ah. Okay, 60. I made a few pretty major fumbles. BBB 42, man. Oof. Oof. Made a couple really major stumbles. Tried to reach up for the backspace and grab delete. You know, it is what it is, right? Anyway, 60. That's fine, I guess. Well, that's not great, but whatever. I thought 60. Yeah, well, it did hinder me. It's incentive not to make mistakes. That's what it is for me, for somebody who's not used to that. I actually like the idea of it, though. I really do. Anyway, we'll do some sounds, right? Since we're still no music. Really mute it out, like we kind of want. Thus band-aids. Still pretty muted here. Whatever, just kind of whacking away, typing at the 10 fast fingers. Anyway, yeah, so generally speaking, I like this board as much as I like the last one. Actually, a little more because I like the black color. It looks a little better. Probably grabs a few more fingerprints here on the side. But I don't know. It's a great board. Looks nice. Sounds great, I think. I love the little accent piece that these 6v2s have right here. Like I always did. Always thought it was great. Anyway, she's a beaut. She's a beaut. All right, if anybody's got any questions or anything, you're to ask. Yeah, so the name tag on the last one that I saw had like a customer name on it. I think that they give you both, or there was an option to get both. Sounds good, feels good because they're Telios. I mean, if your thing is lubed linears, I mean, almost doesn't get better than lubed Telios. All right, guys. I think that means we're done. Thank you guys so very, very much for showing up, for watching, for participating. I really, really appreciate it. Like, really appreciate it, in fact. We'll get this music going back up again. But thanks for the stream. Yeah, man, you're very, very welcome. And remember, Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. is our regular time. This Wednesday at 6:30, we're going to be using that awesome PCB that Heine gave me. Ooh, yeah, I'll definitely raid Mr. Keebs. Is he streaming right now? Ooh, so I've never raided anyone before, so let's do that. How do I do it? I think it's just like /raid, right? Oh, okay, /raid. Is it just Mr. Key? Oh, helps if I have a keyboard plugged in. Okay, guys. Jet baited. Might as well raid somebody, right? It's not a ton of people, but you know, it helps. So Twitch.tv. Let's see who's actually streaming right now. Thank you guys, by the way, really seriously, for joining in. Yeah, he's not streaming anymore. It's as far as I can tell, right? Confirm? Yeah, I don't see it. I went to Mr. Keebs. I need to follow a bunch of the other new streamers so that I'm participating in theirs and can raid them well. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, mine, like, I have an extension and mine does not go to visited auto hosts. Yeah. Anyway, take it easy, gentlemen. I appreciate it very much. I'll get more people up on here for the ratings, but very few people are streaming when I normally am. But on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m., I'm gonna rebuild my Alps Salamander with Heinebusch's H87A Alps board, which is not currently released, but is still being produced for the GB participants. Heine was awesome enough to give me one in advance of the final thing, of the final production delivery set. So I'm gonna rebuild that board with that PCB, which is unilaterally better than the Time TKL board that's in it, PCB that's in it. And so that'll be what's up at 6:30 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday. See you guys there. Thank you so much again for all of the awesome follows, some subs, some bits. Everything was cool, and I appreciate it very much. Yeah, dude, that Heine PCB. Here, I'll show it off real quick one more time. Ooh, that guy. Heine Alps. Oh yeah. All right, take it easy, guys. Thank you so very much.